Kia ora, good evening. A woman was the victim of an aggravated robbery in Glengarry, Invercargill on Tuesday afternoon, and police are looking for two assailants. The woman was parked talking on her phone in a Toyota van after withdrawing money from an ATM at the shopping centre. She was then approached by a male who produced a weapon and stole a quantity of money. The offender is described as being 165 to 170 centimetres tall, average build, and was wearing a black hoodie and blue jeans, and at the time of the robbery was also wearing a black balaclava and black gloves. The offender was with a second male, and police are seeking any information that may help them with their inquiries. A cut of funding assistance rates from the New Zealand Transport Agency could soon see Invercargill ratepayers out of pocket. The NZTA's new scheme for assessing fund allocation resulted in the Invercargill City Council being hit with a 9% cut in funding for the district's roading network.
Each year our council spends approximately $9 million on roading, of which at the moment 60% is paid for by or offered as a subsidy by NZTA. So a 1% change is $90,000 per year. So each year it's proposed to go down by $90,000 how much we get. So in 9 years' time, council will receive $810,000 less than it currently is today.
And how does the council plan to make up that funding?
Well, at the moment that's part of what the council's considering, and it's part of the LTP process. So I guess in simple terms we have a number of options. The first one is that we do less work, or the other option is that council seeks some form of other funding to bring the money back up to the same level. And at the moment the really only option that we see is potentially looking at the rates rise.
So if the rates do rise, when will that come into effect?
That's part of the LTP process, but it's a change of $90,000 per year, so it'll be part of the general consideration of what council has. They may see how they address that. It may be that the overall spending of council doesn't increase, but the proportion of what roading gets may change from other people. So it's still to be decided.
If funding is not met, how will that impact the quality of our roads?
Well, that's a really good question. We have to remember that for every dollar that the ratepayer spends at the moment, about $1.60 is provided from NZTA. So if we don't meet that money, we actually lose twice as much. So what we'll have to do is prioritise the way our works are and actually do the work that's most important. You would expect that the quality of the roads would decrease over time.
The Reserve Bank of New Zealand plans to brighten up the tills next year with more vibrant banknote designs. RBNZ has revealed it will be unveiling brighter and more secure banknotes, which will progressively enter circulation next year. While the flora and fauna will still appear next to the same well-respected faces, advanced printing techniques will be used to brighten the notes and ensure they benefit from technical advances in banknote security. The target date for the release of the $5 and $10 notes is October 2015. With the $20, $50 and $100 notes being released in April 2016. It's been described as the worst vandalism seen in 20 years, but police and Department of Conservation staff are thrilled with public response to the vandalism of a public hut in the Mavora Lakes Park. Police are still tracking offenders who caused at least $7,500 worth of damage to Boundary Hut. Fence posts were ripped out of the ground and the iconic entrance turnstile was removed and burnt. Hut decking was torn up for firewood and food smeared throughout the hut's interior. The toilet and water tanks also destroyed, shot at close range. Police are particularly interested in a green Mitsubishi L200 ute with a couch on the back and 3 male passengers. The driver is described as having a blonde mullet-style haircut. The vandalism incidents lead to DOC questioning whether four-wheel drive access to the park should be restricted. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Monitoring the region's peak river flows and measuring the concentrations of sediments, particularly E. coli and phosphorus, being transported at high flows is now easier and safer for Environment Southland staff. ES have purchased 6 auto water samplers to assist in the long-term water monitoring program that operates across 60 sites.
Rivers that are in flood are turbulent and can have trees and other debris associated with them, so there can be health and safety challenges to accessing those. And for some reason, flood events, high flow events often seem to occur at night or over weekends when staff may not be available to get out at short notice. So in order to collect information about what's being transported by our rivers under high flow events, we've purchased a series of automatic samplers. Now these allow us to collect samples from the river 24 hours a day without actually being on site. They're really smart. We can program them to start collecting samples based on rainfall or based on a certain river level, or we can send them a text message and get them started. And once they start, they follow through a program. They pump water into the sampling device and into a bottle, and then the lines drain out, and they can sample the next bottle.
Big reduction in risks to staff, health and safety, by doing this sort of solution?
Yeah, huge reduction in risks to staff. You know, we're not asking people to go and work in the dark or in storm events to collect this data. The sampling device can do that all through the night. So rather than having people rostered on to a 24-hour day roster to collect samples, which has been done previously for high flow events in the Waituna, we can now let the sampler do the work overnight, and staff can just go out and collect the samples the next day, put new bottles in, and the device is ready for operation again. They're also relatively transportable, so we can pick them up and take them to a different site. Once we've got the data we need at one location, we can take them to another monitoring location and deploy them there.
Stay with us. Up after the break, creative images snapped by pupils at Otatara School, plus the week that was. Welcome back. A simple trip to the South Museum and Art Gallery has inspired students from one Invercargill school to organise, promote and feature in their very own art exhibition. Otatara School students put in the hard work this term to pull together a collection of their own photographs and artwork for a public exhibition.
They wanted to create an exhibition that they could hold somewhere quite public to be able to show off their photography skills. So that was back in term 2, and the project has just evolved over the course of the last couple of terms until they set up display yesterday and had their grand opening. So we had groups divided into literacy groups, and they had to take on different roles. So one group was around trying to encourage other children in the school to get involved and take photos and exhibit their photos in the exhibition. Another group did some promotion to the management team to get some gear for the photography and some money to be able to hold it. And another group, they did a little video clip, and they wanted to advertise to the wider community to come along and watch it.
Pretty much we just had to set up all our planning, and we had to set up all the posters so people will know to get the photos in on memory sticks and all that, so then they'd know to put it in.
What was the most difficult part about this for you?
Probably setting up, because we had to do lots of stuff, set up all that, and then just in pretty much one day.
Otatara School's exhibition's on display until November 27th in the BNZ Bank on Kelvin Street. The Invercargill City Council are trying to offload a large parcel of land in Awarua and hope to attract new industry to the region. The land was purchased for $10 million and has been rezoned as industrial. ICC also intends to offer support to any industry that makes a move to the south.
Anybody coming into Invercargill now and wanting to establish an industry on that site, all they really have to do is get a consent from the regional council. That's a consent to discharge water, stormwater, and an air discharge consent. So it's very easy. They don't have to come in and say, look, have you got any land? Yes, we have. You don't have to go through the RMA process of rezoning it. So since its establishment, we have had quite a bit of interest in that land.
Can you give us some examples of what types of industries could work well there, Richard?
Well, I don't want to prejudge anything, but obviously we have certain natural resources. Primarily we're agricultural or an agricultural-based economy, largely. So anything in that mould would fit perfectly down there.
460 hectares available. They could be reduced down to 5 hectare portion sizes potentially.
Yes, at the moment it's not serviced, but we have plans to service it in the future. Obviously we want in the long term to recover the cost of the land and also to recover the cost of the supply of services to it, whether they need sewage, roading, water, whatever.
So are you saying these are costs that City Council will pick up a portion of in order to get industry operating in this area?
Yes, in the longer term we would expect to recover all our costs from the sale of the land. But at the moment we haven't sold any. But as I said, there is considerable interest in that. But all good things take time.
What's this land currently being used for?
Basically, we're using it as a dairy farm. We get a share out of the dairy farm. So that basically, or up till recently anyway, was recovering our costs of holding the land. We're in the bottom of the South Island. We've got to be able to offer a competitive advantage. And this is one of our competitive advantages. We have the land the land is available and you can start tomorrow.
And that brings us to a close for the week. We'll leave you now with some of the images that told the stories. From the news team, have a safe weekend. Good night.
I could feel the love, can you feel it too? I could feel it all. I could feel it all. You know I said it's true. I could feel the love, can you feel it too? I could feel it all. I could feel it all. Yeah. You know I said it's true. I could feel the love, can you feel it too? I could feel it all. I could feel it all. I can feel the love, can you feel it too? I can feel it all, I can feel it all. You know I said it's true, you know I said I can feel it all.